This was my life for the past month, living in a disgustingly beautiful tropical paradise and pushing my body to its limits in a slightly different way than what I normally do. And I managed to round it all up by getting sick and wasting away in my bed for the past week. So after a full year of consistently hybrid training, I honestly feel like I'm back at square one. Now, we've all been there, having made so much progress on our goals only for life to get in the way, but this is just a fundamental part of being a human being. With that being said, there are definitely ways you can get back on track quicker, and these are the 5 most basic steps that I take whenever I need to get out of a rut. Okay, first up is getting my steps in. Now, the hardest part of getting out of a rut is building that initial momentum, and because of that, we want to make it as easy as possible to get started. Now, I know getting steps in sounds ridiculously basic, but it truly works, and chances are that when you are in a rut, you'll probably forget to do it. Getting your steps in and going for walks is super easy, but it is insanely effective for building that initial momentum. Personally, since getting back from holiday, I've been aiming for 10,000 steps a day, and although it is super cliche advice, it is a really good number to try and hit, and it's been forcing me to make decisions that have just made me feel better. I've been going outside more, moving my body more, and overall it's had a positive impact on my mood, my energy levels, and my mental focus. Walking really is just an all-in-one solution to build that momentum and start getting you out of a rut, and I would highly recommend doing it as your first step. Okay, so you've just gotten back after spending so long out of routine, and you might feel like you have all these goals that you want to accomplish, but it's important to realize that that's probably not realistic. You're trying to pull yourself out of a ditch while simultaneously aiming for the stars, and it's just not going to work out. Which is why the second important step of getting out of a rut is prioritization. You want to prioritize the small amount of things that are really important to you, set goals for them, and write these down. Then you've got to figure out the daily habits that will help you get there. But just remember that you want to keep it small and really think about what's important to you. In fact, let me show you how I did this. This is a monthly page that I created, and it basically has all the daily habits that I want to hit each day, as well as my goals for the month, including fitness goals, personal projects, and just anything else that's important to me at the moment. But it is important to prioritize and just get that mental clarity on the direction that you want to go in. Okay, now that I've stopped wasting away in bed and I kind of know what direction I want to go in, it's time to get in shape again. I might sound like a broken record at this point, but the key with working out is to start small and gradually build up. This has been mentally difficult for me getting started up again because I keep comparing to my past self. Last year, I was running marathons, benching and squatting heavy weights, and it does feel a little bit underwhelming to have to build back up again. But I think it is important here to just trust in the process and trust that the consistency will get you back to where you were. And starting small just gives you a higher chance of maintaining that consistency. Something I've done here is reduce my double training days in favor of higher quality workouts. And so far, it seems to be working. I have more energy and I'm more focused in each workout, both things that are really important for, again, building that momentum back up. Let's talk about diet. The amount of 7-Eleven burgers and chocolate lava cakes that I consumed in the past month is genuinely concerning. As you can imagine, being on holiday came with a complete lack of nutrition, and I did actually end up losing a lot of weight on holiday because of food poisoning and just a lack of lifting weights. So what I'm doing now since coming back is going on a calorie surplus to try and gain some weight, but keeping it as clean as possible so my body just feels good again. Whatever they put in those 7-Eleven burgers cannot be good for you. Now, it has been a while since I've actively tried to gain weight, so I have been tracking calories just to make sure I'm eating enough. And my plan is to do this for a couple of weeks until I've sort of gotten the hang of it, and then drop back to intuitive eating, which is usually how I like to approach my diet. Again, just like with everything else, with diet, I'm focusing on the basics. A big one here after eating a ton of processed food is focusing on single ingredient foods. So just like it sounds, these are foods that consist of only one ingredient. For example, eggs, one ingredient. Fruits and vegetables, one ingredient. Chicken or any other meat, one ingredient. This is a really good way of cutting out processed food, and it's just a generally healthier way to eat. I'm also focusing on balancing my macros, but there's probably 100 videos out there that you can watch on how to do that. Also, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Okay, I would say the hardest part of getting out of this rut has been my productivity and mental focus. I've really been struggling to just sit down and focus on a single task for any length of time, so I've really had to go back to basics with this one. At the moment, I'm blocking out focus time in my calendar, keeping the sessions short and gradually making them longer. And I've had to go back to the classic app blockers just because my mind is constantly reaching for the nearest distraction. Another thing that I've found really helps with my mental focus is embracing boredom. I think this is a concept from Cal Newport's deep work as well, but I'm basically just giving my mind time away from stimulus or distraction or even work, just giving it time to sort through my thoughts and process things and enhance my creativity when it comes time to work. These tactics have been working, and although the progress is slow, I know I'm going in the right direction. Anyway, those were the 5 most basic steps to get out of a rut, no matter how far you've fallen. And going through this process myself has made me realize that no matter how much progress I make on my goals, I can always fall back a little bit, and at that point it is important to just go back to the basics. I guess the true progress is in your ability to bounce back. I know that without this intentionality, I would have been stuck in this rut for a much longer time, but now that I've built some momentum, I feel more motivated to smash out my goals for this year. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Consider subscribing. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, and goodbye.